Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the K1 Speed Challenge GP series. This is round 5, month of May, and we are here trying to close in on the championship leader, get some good points, and maybe get a win. Going out for the first qualifying session here in the 38 kart, closer to the back of the pack. So, first goal is to try to find some clean air as we get out into some space and try to set some good, consistent lap times. Some things to note on this run. The kart felt fairly good, maybe a little bit underpowered, but in terms of the handling, it was good. It turned well. The brakes were a little stiff, but overall, it was something I could work with. However, for some reason, for this race, I just felt a little off. My driving was not, it was good, but it's the small things that separate you from the good times, especially in these types of karts. So it was just hard for me to get in the rhythm. I kept making small little mistakes that you'll see throughout this session. And ultimately, I wasn't able to necessarily put down that good of a time. But you can see we got those two back markers there who were slowing us down, and now we have some clean air to warm up the tires and get some good laps in. But as you'll see as we go through these laps, they're just, they're not bad, they're not great. Just small little things that affect the overall cleanliness of the lap. Is there, we slow down for a quick second, is I think 700 minutes in. But now hopefully we'll be able to start setting actual lap times now that all the funny business are clear out of the way. But starting our first real lap of the session, the line is okay, but just a little bit not so much confidence in general. I missed the apex there, run wide. Through here, I think I clipped the wall, yes, which shoots me out wide and makes me lose even more time. And just the little mistakes that cost you a lot. There, I took the apex too late, lost more time getting on the power, and see, I lose the back end there. And again, while I'm keeping a clean line, I'm not keeping a good minimum speed. It just caused me to lose a lot of time. Because here we just get blatantly blocked by this guy, so there goes that lap in the drain. But yeah. Not horrible, but not ideal. And luckily it is the first qualifying session, so you always have a second qualifying session to make up for. But you still want to do as best you can in case you get a bad car for the second session you can't improve. And as you see, I really missed the hairpin apex there. Throws me out wide, which compromises this series of corners. And yeah, not good. So I think we're going to go on to close to our last lap of the session. Getting towards the last lap of the session here. It ended up being a 21.4, I think it was 21.44, which isn't horrible. The good times are always between 0.5s and 0.2s, but again, I've set 0.2s the last 3 times I've been here in qualifying, and those are the times it's going to put you in the top 3, and those are the times I need to get. So as you can see, it's not a bad lap, but I think right here, we hit the wall, throws it off wide, messes up our line from there, makes us lose speed. But through here, hit the wall again, and overall, just a sloppy lap to come across the line with a 0.4 to end the session. So hopefully, we were hoping for a good kart in Q2 to maybe make up for the lost time. But as you see, as we go on to Q2, the driving got a little better. However, this kart, there was must be something wrong with the battery or something, because it started off okay, but as the session went on, it just started losing time. The kart started to die. You'll see I circled the blue flag, which is, in the qualifying session for me, I think it's the first time I've gotten a blue flag all season. And I wasn't driving bad, so I was really confused. And that's when I realized that, okay, my car must be underpowered. We have another blue flag there. I realized he's right behind me, and my car's underpowered, so I let him through. And by this point, I hadn't set a good lap time. Between traffic and the fact that I think my car was underpowered, I wasn't able to set a good lap time. And you can also visibly see, I'm flat through these corners, which when the car's at full speed shouldn't be the case. And this entire last lap, the car's just dead. From here, you can just tell there's no speed whatsoever. And at this point, the qualifying session was over, and I hadn't set a good lap time, which was really unfortunate because a lot of people went really quick in the first qualifying session. I think I was in P4 after I was done, and in Q2, people tend to go faster. So the fact that I wasn't able to improve my Q1 time because of the kart, it was really hampered me during the race. You see, this is the last lap. The kart's dead. There's no power whatsoever. I'm pretty much trundling around the track at this point. Not really doing anything productive. And yeah, it's unfortunate. Sometimes you get good cards, sometimes you don't. It's just kind of luck of the draw. Really, I should have driven better in the first qualifying session and got a 10th faster, which would have put me in a good position for the race. But as you can see, my car's dead, crossing the line. There's no power whatsoever. So, a little unfortunate, but at the end of the day, it was my mistake for not driving faster in qualifying 1. And yeah. So, the consequences of that qualifying session mean that we are going to start the race in P7, which is my worst starting position of the season. And also, a new feature for this race, there's 2 of them. Feature number 1 is we're doing grid starts now instead of rolling starts, which makes it a little bit cleaner off the line and is also more like Formula style racing. And the second feature is that when a caution is waived, there's going to be safety cars. So the field will bunch up when a caution comes out, so that way people aren't losing time and the leaders can't pull away. And that way there's more closer racing. However, as you'll see, that rule might be changed for the next race because there were a lot of cautions and it really hindered the flow of the race. And also, for this race, there was a new race director controlling it. The person was throwing out yellow flags for. I was asking him for a question about my visor, but as you can see, the yellow flags just not even for car spinning. Normally, that's what a yellow flag is for, or a safety car is for when a car spins and there's a hazard. But they were using yellow flags to neutralize the race and give people back positions for which they thought they gained unfairly. But we'll get into that in a second as you'll see some examples. But anyways, lining up on the grid, the carts are turned on, and race goes. Off the line, we don't actually get a good start, but it doesn't matter because the positions are pretty much standardized. The first corner, we have a big gap to the guy in front of us behind, which I check. So I know I can be a little bit aggressive if I want. Mattia, the center helmet up in front, goes wide, and I try to see if maybe we can come from the outside, but knowing the layout of this track, that's usually never a move. As you can see there, Mattia gets into the back of him, and they both spin, which puts me in a P5. So at this moment, I'm thinking, okay, that's good. And they didn't even spin, too, I might add. They simply just made contact. They were both staying in a straight line. But the race director decides to let them both back through, pretty much negating all the advantage I gained from their mistake. And especially Mattia, who's the one who T-boned him, gets to get his place back, which was really frustrating in the moment because I felt that I was entitled to that place because they are the ones that made a mistake and there wasn't even a crash. There shouldn't have been a yellow flag. In every other form of racing, that would be me up 2 positions, which really helped. But nevertheless, that's the way it was run this race, and that's the way it is. So here we are, restarting the race now, back in P7, and we've also lost 2 laps, which was 2 laps we could have had to maybe make our way even more up the field, but whatever, it is what it is. It was a little frustrating at the time because I really felt that I was entitled to those positions, but it is what it is, and you can't do all the passing and focus on getting the rest of the race done. So there's some battling up front. Mattia is covering the inside pretty well, and it's really annoying because you see opportunities here, but really there just wasn't really anything to do at this corner. And I knew pretty early on that the only overtaking opportunity would be into the hairpin. On this lap, I almost get overtaken, but because the inside line is so powerful here, I'm able to just barely brute force him out of the way. Probably should have a little bit more space, but at the end of the day, he backed out, so it was fine. And here, the big difficulty of trying to get around Mattia this race was that I would get a run on him, but then I'd give him a little push, and then he'd get ahead. So in order to make a move into the hairpin, you have to be right on their bumper, like literally kissing them as you're going into the corner. And I just couldn't do it because of the way I was getting momentum off the corner. I'd get too much of a run sometimes, bump the back of him, which would slow me down and give him an advantage, and pretty much there's nothing I can do. So through here, I'm just trying to figure out a way to get as close to his bumper as I can so I can make a lunge up the hairpin. And that's all we're trying to do. These corners is pretty much, there's no point in making an overtake, but here you see I get really close to him there, and again, I throw up the inside, he turns in, which I guess he's entitled to do, but they throw out the yellow flag again, because in their eyes, they thought that what I did was illegal. And in my honest opinion, I don't really see what's wrong with that. I threw my nose up the inside, and I didn't even run him wide. We made some contact, but I left him space on the outside, and they still deemed it as he should have the position, which, I don't really know how you're supposed to race or gain positions if you can't do that in these carts. Again, I was right behind him going to the corner. He did turn in on me. Technically, he could have left me more space, and it's not like I missed the corner completely. I mean, we made contact and we both had space, and he was still fighting into the next corner, so very frustrating. A lot of things I felt should have gone differently in this race, but it is what it is. So, still stuck behind Mattia, and now because of that caution, we lost another lap to try and gain advantage. So yeah, very frustrating, very disappointing. But again, keep our head down and try to see what we can do. Also, I could feel that my kart was a little underpowered. Just another downside to the race, but we're luckily able to stick with them because the pack was moving kind of slowly, so it was fine. And again, just trying to figure out a way to get a run on Mattia into that hairpin to get a move done. And so far, nothing happening. The kart behind me is, I think, keeping a good distance, so I don't have much pressure behind. We'll just be focusing on the cars at front. The driving itself is better than it was in the first qualifying session, so that was good. But because of all the yellow flags, those are ridiculous and a good lap time. As you can see here, another yellow flag's thrown. Probably, again, not even for an incident. It's another thing, too, with the Mattia, the final corner Mattia move. He didn't even spin, and that really should never be a yellow flag, which is just a little annoying. But whatever. I've been complaining this whole time, so I'll just, I guess stop complaining now. But again, another caution. We lose another lap as they re-bunch up the carts. And I think there's only like 3 or 2 laps left at this point. Maybe, I think 3 or 4 laps left, whatever it is. So now any hope of a podium is gone. It's just about maybe trying to get a position or 2 towards the end based on what happens. I think from here on it is green flag to the end, so we'll have to watch on both the last few laps. You can see again, I get behind him, but again, I push him a little bit as I exit the corner. It allows him to get the run and keep the position. So a little annoying, but there's not really much you can do. And I probably could have been better judging my momentum to make it so that I had the appropriate run to the hairpin, but nevertheless, it didn't work out. So here, again, you can see I'm actually waiting a long time to do it. I think, do I go for the move here? I do go for the move here because I'm desperate. Surprisingly, calls the yellow there, honestly, because they should have, if they were keeping consistent, they were throwing a yellow there as well. But anyways, move didn't work. It was definitely opportunistic, not gonna lie. I was a little too far back, but at that point, I just needed to get the move done. As you can see here, there's no opportunity, but Mattia tries to send it around the outside, which is a really foolhardy move because that allows me to slide right up the inside into this corner, get the position in the last lap, allowing us to finish the race in 6th position. Our worst finish of the season, and yeah, between the yellow flags and everything else is a little bit unfortunate, but at the end of the day, that's racing, and that's how it goes. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That was the race. Hopefully next time out we'll do better and maybe get a podium, but is what it is, and I'll see you guys next time.